Travis Wayne Goodsill. So, in order to understand the learning of the Jews, you have to destroy, purge, cleanse your mind of the learning of the Christians. As the Book of Mormon says, it is written in the learning of the Jews. It is essential to Mormon's eternal salvation to purge all Christian interpretation in order to correctly understand the Book of Mormon. And, in projection, Joseph Smith's works. You cannot use Jesus as a literal figure, a literal being, even if it is different than Christianity, by claiming that he has a body of flesh and bones, and yet still defying the laws of physics. This is essential in coming to know who Joseph Smith's Christ is that he's talking about in the second vision. Take care of multiple birds with one video. I don't kill them. So we won't use that metaphor. And so this morning I had a couple of dreams, because I woke up at a little after 2 o'clock in the morning. And that dream that I recalled involved the destruction of Utah. I'm not exactly sure what kind of destruction it was. I just am aware that there was destruction going on. And I was involved in gathering stuff together to leave and seeing who would come with me, I guess. And then the second dream was when I woke up. It was after 4 o'clock. So having woken up at 2 and going back to bed, that caused me to wake up late. You're going late? Yeah. It is nice to be able to get back into a routine, as I'm still trying to get back into a routine, even though I've been here for, it's going on 2 months. And the second dream involved people online who failed to stop me and silence me were fired. So it is important to know that what you involve yourself with in your daily activities will determine what kinds of dreams you have. If you never watch Nightmare on Elm Street, you'll never have a dream of Freddy Krueger. That is my one and only nightmare that I've ever had in my entire life. There have been sad stuff in my dreams, but not a nightmare. And Freddy Krueger was in that dream. And yes, I, not too long previous, had seen Nightmare on Elm Street with Johnny Depp. And yeah, it was back when I was a teenager. And I was in a parking lot, packed parking lot, dodging in and out of cars, trying to run away from Freddy Krueger, as he was cheating, as his legs would extend to be able to take longer steps. So, and I guess as a kid, I did have a nightmare because of the fears that I had as a kid, realizing my parents were not superhuman. As I remember my parents and siblings were on the grade school the Placentia Sierra Vista Elementary School playground being chased by dinosaurs. But it wasn't me getting chased. I was viewing them getting chased. And I've had multiple dreams of other people suffering and being hurt and being chased. And so that technically isn't a nightmare for me. But anyway, dreams are what the visionary accounts are portraying. With Lehi in the Book of Mormon, Nephi in the Book of Mormon, and Joseph Smith in his visionary accounts. They are all dreams. They are not literal history. And that is essential to know, because that's the learning of the Jews' manner of prophesying of revelation for the latter days. There's an interesting thing as Peter is reaching out to communicate with me. He brought up Gnostic Gospels, and I'm not sure if he knows, but the Gnostics are rejected because the name of Jesus's mother is Sophia, at least in some accounts. And this tips off that it's not literal history, because Constantine's Christianity turned everything into literal history of the Jews, replacing them. And so the name must always be Mary, according to literal history. And there is no such thing as literal history of the Jewish scriptures, manner of prophesying, books of Revelation for the latter days. That is not his mother's name. The actual Christ of whom they are prophesying about. His mother's name is Judith. So you need to put that on your checklist to know who Joseph Smith's Christ is. It's all based on prophecy. Joseph Smith adds a number of prophecies about him. And so if you're going to take him literally, you're going to miss out on this. And as Joseph Smith informs us in section 103, verse 16, not a good idea to leave you open. The Mormon Christ is Mormon. And we're in the latter days, which means he's here, he's talking to you online, trying to save as many Mormons as will hearken to his voice, so that you don't get cut off. If you've been watching my channel, you know it's not cut off. It's utterly destroyed. Because you're in bondage to the great and abominable church, with the abominable Christ of Jesus created by Roman Emperor Constantine. And so, knowing this, Sophia is a name, but the names have meaning. And the meaning of Sophia is wisdom. And so, thus, Jesus, Yah, the Hebrew God of salvation, Shua, is the child of wisdom. They tell you in the Gnostic Gospels that Jesus is not real, and that it is something to learn about who the actual one is. It's prophecy. Mary is another fun one, but instead of a Greek word like Sophia, it's an Egyptian word, language of the Egyptians. Mary means beloved or love in Egyptian. Behold, my son of Mary, in whom I am well pleased. Isn't that awesome? That's why it's Mary in those documents. But Esau, when he lost the birthright and blessing to his brother Jacob, the usurper, Esau went and married a great and abominable church woman named Judith. Thus the prophecy. He is from the great and abominable church. He is a Mormon, and his mother's name will be Judith, because he doesn't have the great and abominable church's authority to lead. He's got a different authority to lead. So, a little fun, but you need to know the ancient languages in order to catch the symbolisms that are being spoken of in the stories. And I've gone over with you Samson. He's the Sun King. Shemesh, sun. The N at the end is the Paleo-Hebrew suffix determinative for king, for a human, kingdom, for a place. And so when you read the stories of Samson, they're, again, not literal history. They're prophecies of the latter-day Mormon, as Joseph Smith tells us. And so when he kills the lion as the Sun King, it's talking about a solar eclipse in the constellation of Leo. It's giving us a star date. And so, as there are a number of instances, I'm assuming, because there's only 12 constellations for the solar eclipse to occur in, it is rare, but over the course of several thousand years, it's likely that Leo has had solar eclipses numerous times. I've not checked it, but as one who's studied astronomy and has a star chart himself, stellarium program, I'm able to know of the likelihood. But there are more deaths involved in the stories of Samson. And so we have his first wife, who is burned to death by the Philistines, the great and abominable church. And so you're looking for an annular eclipse, ring of fire, in Virgo. Now we are narrowing the field down as to when these signs in the heavens occur. And in fact, I'm willing to bet that we already know that to have Leo and then Virgo in succession over the same location on Earth, because that's what solar eclipses do. They not only give you a star date, they also give you a location on Earth. And so now it's getting rare, if not once ever. But he keeps going. There's another one. The destruction of the great and abominable church at their temple, as he is sacrificed. Samson is sacrificed. Samson is not the sun in this particular case. The sun is on the back of the white horse. And I know this because Revelation chapter 19 gives us the same the same prophecy, the same revelation, same star date. Angel standing in the sun on the back of the white horse. And Samson is Jupiter in this particular case. From Revelation chapter 12, the man-child, male child, technically translated. And he's in the Aries constellation. See, by saying this, I know the dates of when these have occurred and will occur, and where on earth they have occurred and will occur. Yes, we're in the latter days. And I've been going over this with you all these years. And so, yes, the Great and Abominable Church in Virgo is 14th of October, 2023. Guess where it crosses over America? Utah! Yay! It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, confirmed by God Himself, written in the heavens, foreordained from before the foundation of the earth, that it would be the Great and Abominable Church. And so it was interesting this morning that Mars, who is Nelson, not only because when Monson died, Mars was at the top of the scales of judgment, meaning he's now the judge, but also the name Russell Marion means Mars. And so if you've seen that thumbnail picture of mine where Nelson is in his robes doing the penalty sign with Mars on his head, that's what I'm referring to. And so, yeah, it's very amusing, as he is the false prophet prophesied. And if you are not destroying your old wine bottle and getting yourself a new one, you will have a hard time with the new wine I'm giving you. You've got to purge yourself of all things Mormonism that they've lied to you about, deceived you about all your life. Brigham Young is not the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He is the first. He usurped Joseph and the Book of Mormon and replaced them with Christianity. The Great and Abominable Church with the Great and Abominable Christ, to become the modern day Great and Abominable Church with the Great and Abominable Christ. And so another fun thing about Hebrew is the 9 gates of the Kingdom of Shadows. Johnny Depp in that movie. And the 2 Mormon boys who sat in the row in front of me and a little to the left were freaked out. They didn't understand it. They thought that their Mormon knowledge was telling them that this is all of the devil. Which, yes, it is. But they didn't understand the symbolism. Who was it? The one who did this? Roman Polanski. Yeah, that's right. And so in there, you have various levels of followers of Lucifer who have different levels of understanding as to how worshiping Lucifer is supposed to be. And it's brilliantly portrayed with these various levels. You got the people at the base who think it's just for orgies and dressing up in costumes and that type of thing. It's all entertainment and for fun to satisfy your pleasures of the flesh. And then you've got the people who take it a little more seriously, who lead people. And then you've got those who do deep study, who think they know it, and they claim that they've seen him. And stuff like that. And then you got the real psychopaths who will light themselves on fire, thinking that they've now are immortal. And yet, still, there's the truth, where Johnny Depp, with Emmanuel Singer, brilliantly casted with the name Emmanuel, by the way, is portraying the higher level, the ninth gate. Only Johnny Depp enters into the ninth gate. And he wasn't intending to. And so, it's 9 in Hebrew is Shua. Teshua, technically. Shua is salvation. And so with the ninth gate, it's talking about salvation of the human. And we know from Mormon theology that Lucifer wanted to save everybody. Whereas Heavenly Father said, well, you need to give them agency. They need to want to be saved. You can't take away their agency and force them to obey by paying tithing and extorting them into obedience and threatening them to commit crimes against anybody who dares to molest or make afraid. And firing them if they fail to destroy me. Fail to murder me. Fail to silence me. Shut down my videos. Right, Todd? You still watching my channel? Or have you given up now that you were told that you can't sue me? Has the church fired you? Is that why you're gone into silence? Still waiting for Dad to die. Is he still living in the same house? Because I'm expecting you not to tell me he's dead either. I know you lied about why you didn't contact me about Mom. So, yeah, in Paleo Hebrew, it's a different interpretation than in Aramaic script, which the Wikipedia page on numerals informs us. And so it's not the letter Tet, which is designated in Gematria of Jewish Kabbalism as the ninth letter, but Teshua is the biblical word for it, and thus it has meaning. And then Shua is salvation. So 9 is associated with salvation. And it is interesting because the ninth gate and President Russell M. Nelson seem to have a thing with 9s. As I used to do the videos when I recognized a 9 pattern event occurring. And we're still in it. There's still 9s coming our way. He's 98, isn't he? And so it's going to be 99 this September, the 9th month. Let's verify here. Yeah, 98 years old. So he'll be 99 in September. And then with, because we've got September 22nd, 2 9/11s. 9/11 plus 9/11 is 9/22. This is the bicentennial year of Joseph Smith's second vision. See how I'm tying all this together? You thought I was veering off course and talking about something else. Nope. And then afterward, in October 14th, we have the annular eclipse in Virgo, which represents the church. Jesus is the bridegroom, and the church is the bride from Ephesians. Yeah, so Virgo is the church, as well as the mother who gives birth to the Messiah in symbolic form. And so, yes, it goes over Utah. And so it's clear as a symbol, as a sign in the heavens, that's referring to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And here Joseph Smith is talking about September 22nd. And Nelson is going to be turning 99. And so, since I'm the only one who deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, there can only be one, even though certain discoveries get usurped by others who make it popular. For example, the Big Bang, which is a horrible theory in the first place, it needs to be rewritten, needs to be destroyed. It's not true. The vegetation theory has long since been established as fact. Nonetheless, it was a Catholic, French Catholic, who created it out of nothing. And I don't know his name. I'm not going to look it up. But Hubble is the one who made it popular. And so the Hubble telescope got named because of Hubble usurping it from the French Catholic. But it's all a complete bogus theory. And yet you still see astronomers who refuse to use science to fact check these guys. And so instead they assume that it's correct and then develop more theories and test, and they say it looks like we got confirmation, but no, you're basing it on a wrong premise. That ruined it all and sent you on the wrong path, because there are other explanations if you use the vegetation theory. Similar with religion. The scriptures in the Book of Mormon are completely understood differently once you use the learning of the Jews and get rid of the Christian interpretation. And so you have the Tau, which is the throne in Aramaic, but is the cross in Paleo-Hebrew. This is a prefix determinative. Aramaic, however, is reversed. The last letter is the suffix determinative for the root word, which is 2 letters. And so, yes, Hebrew, Babylonian Hebrew, is 3 letters. But Paleo-Hebrew, Aramaic are not Babylonian Hebrew. It's a completely different language altogether. And so I'm giving you Paleo-Hebrew here, mixed with Aramaic. But we'll stick with the Paleo-Hebrew because that's the origin. And so the sin or shin in Babylonian Hebrew phonetics, you just think of it in terms of Greek. Greek. I don't memorize. I have to. Sigma, yeah. Sigma is the equivalent to the Hebrew shin. And it is the water symbol. And then you have the universal symbol of the sun. And so Shua is the water symbol and the universal symbol of the sun. Amen. Salvation through Amen. The waters of heaven. And so with the cross, it's prophesying to us of Amen coming in the latter days to save the Mormons. Because Joseph Smith says it's Mormons. He's Mormon. With the crossroads over the United States of America, the crossroads of the sun. Christ on the cross. See him? Christian interpretation is completely different than Jewish interpretation. When you leave out literal history and you say symbol, aha! We're given a star date by Matthew. So we do know the day and the hour. The redactor is wrong. Was purposely trying to mislead us and any readers, because John gives it to us as well. And Samson gives it to us. The first and the last day of darkness. Or hour, depending on which story you're referring to. And so, what you're witnessing here is the prophecy of salvation when he comes, portrayed in the letter 9. And he can't save anybody without the fall of the great and abominable church and Mormons to hearken to him. And that's what happens. When Mormons hearken to him, the fall will occur. Because the prophecy is that Mormons will turn on each other and destroy each other with the sword of the Word of God. So, yeah, there's a lot of knowledge contained within Hebrew. Because they're all pictures. And a picture is worth 1,000 words. Literally. Alrighty. So are we ready now, after 33 minutes, to briefly sum it up? Lehi's dream? Yeah, Zedekiah has taken the throne in 2017. Lehi has a dream of Revelation chapter 12, 23rd September 2017. He then gets the book from Emmanuel and learns about the destruction of the great and abominable church. And he then tells the Mormons, and the Mormons want to murder him. And so the Lord, in a dream, tells him to leave. And he leaves 600 years before the one over Russia, which means Russia is the one who put the president, Zedekiah, on the throne in 2017, and is also revealing that the Exodus is supposed to be in 2020. Oops. Because 8 April 4 CE is what this is all talking about. The annular eclipse that occurred then over Russia. And it actually comes from Abraham sacrificing Isaac, by the way. That whole story, yeah, that's a star date for then. Fascinating. And so he then leaves, and then Nephi is born, the start of the ministry, in 2017. September 23rd, the start of the ministry. And so the birth of Christ is code under the learning of the Jews as prophecy in the book of Revelation for the latter days. Start of the ministry of the Mormon, who is the Christ of Mormons, begins 23rd September 2017. And so you can go back in history if you want and find out what happened that Saturday. You know what day it was? Of course I do. And what significant event in the Great and Abominable Church happened on that day. And so, yes. And thus the first day of darkness happened the month before in the constellation of Leo over the United States. And the 3 days of darkness form the letter Aleph, Alpha, over the United States, by the way. That's cool. And, yeah. And so that's the story of Lehi's dream, how it's to be interpreted. And so then we go to Joseph Smith, his second vision. We are already told that Jesus is not our Christ, that he's the abominable Christ of the Great and Abominable Church of Christianity. Because Brigham Young had not changed the name yet. He'd not even joined he had joined the church by 1838, but not at the beginning when Joseph Smith is claiming that all of this is happening, which Brigham Young turned into literal history. And so you get Nephi coming to visit him. Not Moroni, Nephi. Joseph Smith Papers. You must refer to the Joseph Smith Papers, because the Great and Abominable Church took out the plain and precious parts of the works of Joseph Smith and from the Book of Mormon. Isn't that amazing? Fulfilling the Book of Mormon prophecy of the Great and Abominable Church. And so Nephi is the new name of Emmanuel in the Great and Abominable Church's temple. And so, yeah, it would mean that it was on May 6th when he would have gotten his endowments in the Temple of Angels. He's Mormon. Which temple is called the Temple of Angels? Give you a clue. It's where he got the 5 Peaks Award, going to the tops of the mountains. As an Eagle Scout. See, all of it is prophecy, guys. Fulfillment of prophecy. Been trying to help you, but you are not getting rid of your old wineskin. You've got to throw it away and get a new one for the new wine. Get rid of your Christian interpretation so that you can handle a Jewish interpretation instead, so that you can understand the prophecies. Because we're in the final year of the latter days. It's kind of essential to your eternal salvation. Because you don't want to be cut off, do you? Cut off, utterly destroyed. And so he also is from the Book of Mormon, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th Nephi. And in the Jewish scriptures, it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th Kings, instead of 1st and 2nd name of God, then 1st and 2nd Kings. Giving you translation from Hebrew. And so, yes, Samuel the Lamanite, that was an awesome part of the story. When Jesus comes from outer space, the 8 April 2024 sign in the heavens, comes to Nephi, makes him the king for the millennium, and then says, hey, where are the books of the name of God? Where's his prophecy of the restoration of Joseph Smith's church? Not talking about a zombie apocalypse. And so, yes, once you purge yourself of all things Christian interpretation and use Jewish interpretation, the Book of Mormon is awesome. And let alone Joseph Smith. Awesome. And so, yes, he too is given a book, the Book of Mormon, in which he is told about the destruction of America and the Great and Abominable Church. And what happened? He went and told the people and was assassinated by those who became the Great and Abominable Church. But that's why Joseph Smith did what he did and wrote what he did in the manner in which he did it. Is because he was trying to put focus on the Book of Mormon, the warning of the Book of Mormon, that he is to prepare the way for the Christ. And so I've been spending all my years telling you guys about it as I've been collecting the records and doing the documents and collecting the history of the record of the people, history of the world, the history of Mormons. So, yeah, I even had a dream back in 2000, it was February, before I went on the book signing tour in Elko, Nevada, which, Revelation chapter 12, flood, the partial lunar eclipse on that day, as Nelson was here in Salt Lake, I was in Elko. So, but yeah, there's a lot of comparisons, a lot of things that are awesome, but unless you purge your Christian understanding that the church has indoctrinated you with, brainwashed you with, you will never know the truth. And like as you got a glimpse, the truth is awesome. Because Monson's birthday, yeah, the 21st of August. The ancient Egyptian religious calendar New Year, yeah, the 21st of August. They knew. And when you understand that they go back far beyond 4000 BCE in this knowledge, that just blows my mind. And so, yeah, it's going to blow your mind. And so, yes, I'm going all in now because we're in the final year. Whereas previously, I was still trying to gather information, trying to figure out the star charts, because I had learned about it. I'm educated, degreed, published. Well, I was published once I started recognizing that the solar eclipse was coming. But, yeah, published and experienced. And because I knew that I'm the only one who knew this, as my one book that I put on Academia, I was reviewing today, Gary Greenberg and Amit, can't remember his name now, and then Dorothy Murdoch. They were all involved with their own independent research on the same type of subject matter, but each of them were incorrect with their conclusions. They still needed to follow the scientific process to produce a theory, to have it tested. And so Dorothy was the only one who was the closest, but she still rushed to a conclusion rather than continuing her research, as she just assumed that it was all, the Bible was just nonsense, plagiarized material, like the Book of Mormon. She didn't realize that the Bible was specifically written selecting certain things and putting them in a certain order for a reason. But she's dead. And I'm not sure about Gary Greenberg. I thought he was dead, hadn't heard from him, and then he is following me on Academia. So that was weird. But, well, alrighty, I think we're done. We're just reminiscing here now. But yeah, Lehi's dream, that's Joseph Smith's second vision. It's the day that shall burn as an oven. The destruction of the United States and Mormonism, the great and abominable church. Exactly the same, just told in different stories. That's Joseph Smith's cleverness, trying to teach us. And yeah, there's September 22nd, and yeah, there's Jewish holy days involved and other stuff as well.